this episode, I'd like to take some time and explain my in-ring wrestling style and some influences and things of that nature. So bear with me, please. If you watched the previous episode, I talked about how I got into pro wrestling, and from that conversation, you can tell that SmackDown circa 2004-2005 was a huge early influence on me. So guys like Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Batista, later on Edge came onto SmackDown, Chris Benoit and others, and just those different styles. Because SmackDown, I think, has, for the most part, always sort of been the more wrestling-centric brand of WWE, and so that was what I was accustomed to. That's what got me into it in the first place. And so my style today, definitely not based off of Rey Mysterio. It's not necessarily for me. It's not my forte. I'm relatively tall for the independent scene. I'm just a tiny bit over 6 feet tall. But I really like more of a smash mouth style that's focused on a mix of brawling. You have the striking, but you also have the technical aspect of it. I like chain wrestling a lot, and Kurt Angle is another guy who's on SmackDown. So those sort of influences, if you look at it, Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero from the technical perspective. When I can, I like to throw in a couple of power moves. I'm working on building my body so I can do it to more people. That came a lot from Batista, standard American style pro wrestling from guys like Randy Orton. So I'd say it's a mix, and when I got older and I started watching more, I became influenced by a bit of the Japanese strong style from guys like Shinsuke and AJ Styles, and obviously some of the previous mentioned names made their way through Japan, so they were influenced by it as well. Today, what I like to watch, first of all, I get sent from where I'm training these older videos from like the 80s and such. So it's interesting to see how the style was back then, and there's little bits and pieces that I see and I get excited, and I try to then incorporate into what I'm doing. But as far as more modern things that I'm watching today, I'd have to say Eddie Guerrero, some of the stuff he does, not necessarily the lucha and high-flying aspects of it, but just the in-ring, on the mat kind of stuff. I'd also say I'm starting to really get into Fit Finlay because he has a bit of that smash mouth, well, not a bit, it's a bit more than a bit, a smash mouth brawler style that I want to incorporate. Really anything on NXT UK, Pete Dunne, even though he's younger than me, has accomplished so much, and just the stuff he does gets me excited. I feel like a fan again, and a lot of the stuff on TV, I think many guys will say, may not generate the same sort of excitement that it used to when we were kids, but when I watch some of the NXT matches and NXT UK matches, I feel like that fan again, where I'm just sitting there like, wow, how are they doing this? Like, I can't wait to steal or take and mold into my own the things that I'm seeing. In summation, I'd say I like to combine a bit of technical with the brawling, sprinkle in a couple of power moves there, and obviously I like being the villain, Andros. One, it's more fun. Also, it feels right for some reason. I don't know what that says about me. It feels so much better. Being Greek and speaking Greek, you get that instant reaction. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is because I've incorporated quite a few, shall we say, less than clean tactics into my matches and ring work. Part of it is because of just the general vibe that I'm going for. Win it, by any means necessary. Use the environment, use the ring apron, the ropes, the buckles, everything. But also, when thinking about it, it really harkens back to the origins of wrestling. If you look back at the ancient Greek Olympics, eye gouging was allowed, all these different things that today are banned, and rightfully so. They were allowed, so I think it's a little bridge back to that original kind of wrestling where, listen, if you wanted to win, you're going to win no matter what. It doesn't matter what you had to do, as long as you got that victory, that's all that matters. And not to say that I'm married to any of this stuff, it's just what feels good right now. As the Odyssey continues, as my journey through pro wrestling continues, I'm actually excited to see how my style will evolve in the coming years, even weeks and months, as I learn more and I'm exposed to more, and I just see what feels right for me and see what it gets together. Maybe I'll even start doing a few more aerial type of tactics, more high risk stuff. Probably not, but we'll see. Who knows? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andros, and this has been another episode of my Odyssey.